Lions absolutely shellac the poor Washington Commanders. And, they do say that revenge is a dish best served cold. I don't even really want to call this a revenge game because Washington was a dead man walking. Marcus Mariota was your quarterback. That was already, that was already red flag number one. They were losing guys on the defense in that very game, including, what's his name, Cameron Payne, who decided to become Rocky Balboa in the middle of the game. It was just a nightmare for Washington, that is. It was a dream come true for me because I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this team, we've had the struggles of the offense the last 3 weeks. What we need more than anything, especially after that loss coming off of the bye to a division rival, what we need more than ever is to blow out an NFC opponent on the road, just like we did last year. And we did exactly that. The Lions offense came alive in basically every facet of the game. And the interesting part about that offensive revival is not necessarily the players on the field, because you expect Jahmyr Gibbs to rush for 142 yards on 15 carries and get multiple touchdowns. You even expect Jameson Williams to get 6 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. You expect Amon-Ra to get 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. You expect David Montgomery to run for 71 yards. You expect all of this. What you might not have expected was who was responsible for calling the plays, because basically since 2022, the Lions offensive coordinator, namely Ben Johnson, has been the one making the play calls. And since he has left to be the Chicago head coach, the Lions decided to hire a man by the name of John Morton. And after last week's beautiful performance, I guess Dan Campbell decided, you know what, Johnny Mo? We're going to go ahead and take you outside real quick. We're going to take you to the beautiful prairie out, and you can smell the roses. What's that movie? Oh my gosh, what's the movie? Look at the roses, Paul. Just look at the I think that I'm probably misquoting that, but whatever. But basically, Dan Campbell takes over play calling, and the offense completely explodes. Jack Fox does not see the field. So we're looking to see if Jack Fox is still on the team, because literally every single drive the Lions scored, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, the Lions scored. I don't think they had a drive where, well, they definitely didn't have a drive where they didn't end up at least in Washington territory. That first drive to start the third quarter, I could be wrong about this. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they had a second down. Or maybe they had 1 second down. It was like first play, run for a first down. Second play, throw to J-Mo for a big gain. Third play, another throw to J-Mo for a big play. And then it was just like, oh, and now we're in the end zone. It was crazy. It was crazy. The flip of the switch. Now, I want to be a little bit fair to poor Johnny Morton. I know we just made fun of the guy. The defense for the Vikings is significantly better than the defense for the Commanders. Can we agree with that? I mean, like the Commanders quit in about the halfway point of the maybe not even the halfway point of the third quarter. They probably quit about halfway through the second quarter. However, you were supposed to do this to a team like this. And Dan Campbell, the offense, it just felt better. And again, we could just be getting fooled because Washington has such a terrible defense, but it is what it is. You had a bad team in Minnesota, and that's what they are. They are a bad team. Don't get it twisted. Just because they beat the Lions, they are still a bad team. They came into your house, and they beat you. What you were supposed to do this week, and I laid it out on last week's show, you got to cover the spread, and you got to do it by a little and then some, basically. The spread going into this game was, I believe, 8.5. By my count, 22 is a bigger number than 8.5. So, yeah, I think they covered the spread and then some. I even said I wanted to see Kyle Allen in this game, and I did. Now, granted, he went 0 for 2, and he handed the ball off to David Montgomery a few times, but whatever. Kyle Allen was the one who got to go into victory formation at the end of that game. Like, I couldn't have scripted a better game for the Lions going into this Sunday night game. Now, the other one I don't know how to say words. The other guy I got a shout out is Jameson Williams. Finally has that game. It's funny because all going into this Vikings game last week, all of the talk was about getting J-Mo involved. John Morton, we need to get J-Mo involved. Everybody's talking about we need to get him the football. And he didn't really get that involved in that Minnesota game. But in this game, a game where there was really none of that, all the narrative was like, oh my gosh, how terrible is this offense? Is John Morton got to get fired? Do we got to make a mid-season change? What's going on? Why aren't we buying at the trade deadline? Nobody was talking about Jameson Williams, and he goes out and has the best game of the year for him, for sure. 119 yards, a touchdown. He had a 41-yard catch and run. It was great. He only had one drop too, and that was funny. I think during that game, I was like, oh, that's going to be people are, oh, see, he still got the drop. He's still got the drop. Like, come on. Amon-Ra had more drops. All right. Amon-Ra 5 for 8 in terms of receptions and targets. J-Mo had 6 for 7. Anyway, I digress. It was a great game for the offense. And I don't want to talk too much about the defense because then whatever. You held them to 22 points when your offense was lighting them up. I really don't care. And you set the tone early. They went 3 and out to start. They really could never get anything going offensively. There were very little penalties. It was just an overall disciplined game. Now, moving along, because this game, as much as it was fun, it was a training exercise as far as I'm concerned. This was not anything to be like, oh, now we're back to being Super Bowl contenders. No, you got Philadelphia on the road this Sunday, primetime Sunday Night Football. And I will say this, and I'm sure this could very well age poorly. I don't care. That's the nature of this medium. I didn't get to watch the Eagles last night because it's on ABC, and I don't have ABC because YouTube TV is terrible. And also ABC is terrible. I hate everybody. But I didn't get to watch that game. But when I saw a final score of 10-7, you know what I thought to myself? This team ain't nothing but a bunch of, people clocking in and clocking out. This team is exhausted. I don't know that I trust the culture that they've got going for them. Last year, we had this whole thing, at the middle of the year, what does Nick Sirianni do? And now, pretty much at the same point in the season, we're like, okay, what does Nick Sirianni do? Well, he does that. Now, again, I want to be fair. I'm not here just to dog on them. They played against a really good Packers defense, and the Packers played against a really good Eagles defense. It was a defensive game. But you can't sit here and tell me that you didn't, if anybody did watch that game, that you saw that game and didn't think, man, this NFC is ours for the taking. It is ours for the taking. Now, if Lions go into Philadelphia and they win that game, oh, we're back on the Super Bowl train. We're back to potentially looking at the number 1 seed, especially with LA later coming up in the schedule. And I'll say this as well, and this also might age poorly. I don't care. I'm having fun. It's a Victory Tuesday. You win on Sunday, you're a buy one, get one free because you play the Giants the next week at home. And that game, you are going to score 1,000 on that terrible Giants team. So I will one final thing before we end the segment, because I wrote this down and I want to make this point. The Lions have the longest streak in NFL history of not losing back-to-back games. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the case. It could be longest in like a very long time. Either way, when you think about just how hard it is to do that, 2022 was the last time the Detroit Lions lost back-to-back games. I had just graduated from college. I'm now almost 4 years removed from that. Next year will be 4 years since I graduated college. The idea that you can go that long, and obviously, again, they could lose back-to-back games later in the year, but they are, to this point, haven't lost back-to-back games a very long time. That speaks to culture. It speaks to grit. It speaks to the kind of guys that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell want on their football team. Because, look, I don't know what the streaks are like for other teams, but this sort of thing just doesn't, it only seems to happen with the Lions, with the way that they built their team. And I know that people mock the notion of, they're focused on their kind of guys, on their culture. They're not interested in the I'm trying to think of Jalen Carter. Not interested in the Jalen Carters of the world or the CJ Gardner-Johnsons of the world, although they were interested for a little bit. But you know what I mean? Like, they're not interested in these guys that might have some talent and might even help you win games, but are not grinders. They're not the guys that are, the stereotype is, first guy in, last guy out. They're not interested in those kind of guys. And this is the fruit of that. And will it amount to a Super Bowl? I don't know. I hope it does. I think it will. I think it could. But the next time that somebody mocks the notion of grit or Brad Holmes liking his guys or not, going quote unquote all in for some superstar player from outside the organization, just remember, haven't lost back-to-back games since 2022. How many other teams can say that? I'll give you a hint. None of them. So, look, we'll go into Sunday. I'm already on to Philly. I've forgotten about the Washington game, as fun as it was. I'm on to Philly right now. Emotionally, you win that game, we'll be on a high, like basically the same high that we were when we beat Baltimore. But that that win, obviously, to this point, doesn't look nearly as good as it did at the time, although Baltimore's kind of rising. So hope for another Lions win this Sunday. I do think they can get it done, but it's going to take another kind of one of these games. 60 minutes of good football all around. Hey, YouTube, if you like clips like that, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We've got live shows every Tuesday night. Hope to see you there.